Hello, today we'll be going to learn how to use lines in whilst working with Photoshop. We're going to learn how to use lines whilst working with Photoshop, particularly using lines to trace and then with the help of lines removing the backdrop or the background of an image. These are the two main things that we're going to do. And in addition to that, I'm going to also go um, talk about how to use lines to draw various shapes. Okay, so you can try that by yourself at your spare time or your free time. So let's begin. First of all, you have to know the line 2 on the toolbox. All right, so when you go to the toolbox, this is the line 2. All right, there are two main different line tools that are given to you on the toolbox. There are several, but then the two visible ones are the freehand tool and then the artistic media tool, all right, which work equally like the line tool. So today we're going to be using the freehand tool to draw in shapes and curves and other things. All right. So follow where my mouse pointer is. This is the freehand tool. Okay. So to activate it, you have to select or click once on it. Now you see that there is a small button that is beside the freehand tool, an arrow facing down. Now when you click on that arrow, it gives you options of of the various forms of lines and how they are used. Alright, so there are the 2 point line, there's the bezier, there is a pen, there is the B spline, there is a polyline, there is the 3 point curve, and then there's a smart draw. Today we'll be in dealing with the line 2. We'll be working with the freehand, the 2 point, and then the 3 point. Alright, and probably the B spline. And then um, God willing, tomorrow we'll look at the poly line, the pen, the bezier, and then the smart draw. So we are dealing with the freehand, the two line, the B spline, and then the curve. All right. So the freehand basically gives you um, a taste of drawing, okay, with your freehand, just like you do on a normal basis, right? That is what the freehand is responsible for. So with this tool, um, for instance, if you are somebody who likes to do drawing by yourself without the use of objects, all right, I also recommend a Wacom tablet. Okay, it's one of the best um, artistic media tablets that you can get on the market and then use for your drawings and other things. Um, they go hand in hand, especially with this type of tool, right? It's a great way of expressing yourself through drawings. If you are not too experienced with the mounts, you might not know how to use the tool properly, right? So that is basically it for the freehand tool. And the freehand tool can also be used to draw straight lines. Okay, so in drawing straight lines, what you actually do is you click once, and probably you want to draw a horizontal line. You click once on any spot, and then you drag. Okay, you drag, and then you click again to get a horizontal line. Let me do this very closely so that I can talk to you about how to get your line accurately. Now, in drawing a line in Corel Draw, okay, I want to draw a horizontal line and it should be very straight. When I click once and I drag, you realize that it seems pixelated. It seems like the lines are in bits, okay? It seems like the lines are in bits and I've shifted in a certain manner, right? But then if they all align, okay, you see a perfect straight line. But then if they are shifted, you realize that the the lines become tiny lines that are connected. So to get a perfect line, okay, even if you zoom out, right, to get the perfect line, sometimes focus on those key things in order to get your line very straight and accurate. Another way of getting your line straight and accurate is when you click once on any space, all right, after selecting the freehand tool, when you click on any space, you can place your hand on the control key on the keyboard and then drag. Place your hand on the control key on the keyboard and then drag. It gives you a perfectly straight line. And then you click on the other side to give you a straight line. So you can use this in drawing various shapes. Okay, you can use this in drawing various shapes, um, triangles, rectangles, circles, right? You can actually use the freehand to do so if you want. And let's go to the next um, two. We're talking about the 2 point line. The 2 point line. So this is the 2 point line tool. Okay. Um, the name describes its function. So basically, what it means is that drawing a line with 2 points. Let me give you an example without using the two. This is a point. All right, let's say this is a point and that is a point. Okay, so if you want to draw a line, if we are talking about the 2.2, it's basically drawing a line with 2 points. I hope you get the idea. So you are using 2 points to draw a line. All right, so wherever the point is, like I said, um, when working with CorelDRAW, in terms of the 2.2, when you click, take it as if it's a point. So where the next click is, that is the second point, and that connects a line. Now there's um, a uniqueness about this particular tool I'm going to show you in a bit. So 2.2, this is how you use it. All right. So I want to draw a line with a 2.2. I'll click on one side. Okay, click, hold, and then drag. Right. After dragging, I release. And when I release, I get a straight line. Unlike the freehand tool where you can click and release your hand and then drag to get the line before clicking again. With this tool, you have to click and hold, press on. Okay, you don't release your hand after clicking. You make sure you have held onto the left click button and drag whilst your hand is, so you click and hold, then you drag. Okay, then you leave the right and the left mouse button where you feel you are okay with the line, and then it gives you a straight line. That is about the difference between the freehand and this tool. But then this tool also works with connectors. Right, this tool works with connectors. So it actually allows you to connect two lines. Unlike the freehand tool, it does not allow you to connect two lines. The freehand tool allows you to draw your shape at once. Immediately you release your hand from the button. Okay, doing another thing becomes another object or another line. It does not join to the first line that you did. But with this, you can join every line that you draw. Okay, and you do that by using, okay, you do that by using the notes, the line notes. All right, so we've spoken about notes. The three dark squares that are there is a node, but when you're talking about the object node, you realize that there is a smaller box that is on the line. Okay, so you can join lines using the object nodes. All right, with the free 2 point line tool. You can draw a line using the object node. So I'm going to try to draw a rectangle using the node. All right. So I've drawn the first line. Then I'll go to the node, click on it. All right. Click on the node. Now, watch something. If I click on the node, all right, there's an arrow that comes there, and then the three dotted dark nodes disappear. But if I don't click on the right node and I click on the three dotted dark nodes, all right, the angle node, it gives me a two-sided arrow. That means I want to extend the line, and that is not what we want to do. We actually want to use this line to draw a rectangle. So what we do is you have to click on the node on the line, okay, to give you the arrow, okay, to give you the arrow facing down. All right. So I click on that node. You realize that there is an arrow facing down, a single arrow facing down, and then I drag up, okay, with my hand on the control key because I want a perfect line. I drag up. One thing you have to note in CorelDRAW is whenever you want a perfect line, circle, square, rectangle, triangle, always remember to place your hand on the control key. It's a form of um, making whatever thing you are doing accurate. Okay, with regards to objects, that is squares, circles, and etc. So I've I've clicked on the node and I've dragged up. We are drawing a rectangle. After dragging up, you realize that these two lines are connected. They don't become separated, they become one. But if I should use the freehand tool to do that, okay, let me go back to the freehand tool. If I use the freehand tool to do that, I don't get a connected, okay, I don't get the straight connected lines. I get just one straight connected line. And these two are different from each other. So what you have to put at the back of your mind is the 2 point the 2 point line tool gives you accuracy, but the freehand does not. All right, the freehand does not give you the accuracy you want, and it also does not connect two different lines together for you. There are ways by which uh, you can apply to connect two different lines, especially when it comes to the freehand too. I'm quite conversant and used to it. Okay, so I might not be making some mistakes here. Okay, but probably if you do, you might make those mistakes and you know how it is. So I'm drawing a rectangle with this. So just going to do that quickly. Sorry. We are using the 2 point line too. Right. So I'll click on the node and drag, click, drag, click and drag, click, drag, okay, click and then drag. And then I have a rectangle. All right. So you can use the 2 point line too. All the lines can be used in drawing rectangles, but I just want to show you the strengths and the weaknesses of some of them. Now let's go to the next line too. Um, the next line too that we'll be talking about is let's talk about the 3 point curve. Okay, like I said, the name should tell you something. We are saying 2 points. That means you can do a drawing with 2 points. And this is saying 3 points. That means you can do a drawing with 3 points. But this time round, it's not a 3 point line tool. It's a 3 point curve tool. The other one was a line tool, but this is a curve tool. So that means this is used in drawing curve with 3 points. And let me demonstrate that to you. So you click, hold, and drag. Okay, where the point ends, where you drag to is where the point ends. All right, click, hold, drag. Okay, where you drag to is where the point ends. Where you drag to is where the point ends. Now, if I release my hand from the mouse button, that is not it. It's not done yet because it's a 3 point. I've done just 2 points. So now watch what the third point does. The third point is what initiates the curve. So wherever you put the third point is where the curve will get to. Alright? Wherever you put the third point is where the curve will get to. So you can use this line in drawing arcs, okay? Or circle, or a circle. Alright? Whenever you are using the point tools, the point tool, take note, 2 point line or 3 point line means, or the freehand means you can connect various, okay, Corel Draw allows you to connect various points, okay, to form an object. So the line tools, actually all of them can be used to form an object, but then each line tool has its advantages and disadvantages, and that is what you have to note down. Okay, so I can use this to draw a circle. It's not a perfect circle, it looks more like an oval, but then I can just do some editing around it, okay, to make it a perfect circle, okay, to suit whatever thing that probably I might want to do. Okay, I'll be teaching you how to use this tool, so don't worry about it. Today we are just dealing with the line tools, okay. So there I have my circle. It's not all that perfect, but then for the tutorial sake, okay, that is why I'm in haste. So that is for the 2 point curve too. If you have any questions, put it in the comment section, and I'm going to do a video on it so that I address your question. Um, the next two we're going to look at, which is the last, is the B-spline. Okay, so the B-spline too. Now, the B-spline, just like all the other tools, allows you to can be used in drawing objects. But then this is the advantage and the disadvantage of the B-spline. All right, so the B-spline tool, I call it the perfect tracing tool because the B-spline tool actually immediately you initiate the B-spline tool. All right, if I talk about initiate, is immediately you start using the B-spline tool. It does not end until you are done um, until you are done building your object or creating whatever form or shape you want. So for instance, I want, you know, um, something like a square, okay, with what the B-spline tool allows me is to be able to do that. Okay, so if I want something like a square, I can use the B-spline to get that shape. Okay, more or less like a square. So I can use the B-spline to do those drawings. All right, and then I have my shape ready. Okay, so I'm just trying to explain the concept of the B-spline too. All right, it does not allow you to end something until you are done forming the object. Okay, and then it takes us to using line to tracing. So you can use all the lines that I've spoken about to trace. I'm going to speak about the other lines also, the other line tools also, God willing, tomorrow. But then you can use all the lines to trace. All right, the Bezier tool especially is a perfect tool that can be used to trace, and I'm going to demonstrate that tomorrow to you. But then I normally go for the B spline too because the B spline or um, the 3 point curve too because it helps me work faster. So we're going to bring in an image and then I'm going to show you how to trace it. You can download any emoji image. So this is a challenge session. Download any emoji image of your choice and then we're going to trace it. Okay, we're going to trace it. So I'm going to be tracing this particular image for you guys to see how that is done. Now, this image can be formed with objects, but today we're dealing with tracing. That's why I'm going to trace the image. Okay, so I'm going to trace it using different line tools. All right, after which I'm going to apply colors so that you see how it goes. So to trace an emoji tool, so get any emoji tool of your choice and then follow the steps that I'm going to use to do the tracing, to trace yours as well. And then after which I'll show you what to do with it. And then you post into the WhatsApp platform. And then we give our comments on it. All right. So that is the challenge section. So I'm going to trace this image. All right. I'm going to use the 3-point curve. Okay, I'm going to use a 3-point curve. So first of all, after selecting the 3-point curve tool, I have to zoom in. Okay, this is pixelated. All right. So this was done obviously by Photoshop or something. So I'm going to use the B spline tool. Sorry, the 3-point curve tool to start. Okay, we're going to use the 3-point curve tool to start. So first of all, what I'm going to do is trying to trace the outline. All right. So I'm going to try to trace the outline. Okay. So someone will ask, how did you do that? So let me go over it again. So it's a 3-point curve tool. This is where my first point starts. Follow where my mouse pointer is. This is where my first point starts. And I'll end it somewhere, okay, on top of the circle. All right. Now, from where my point started and ended, that is where I'll release my hand from the click, okay, from the left click button. So when starting my point or my line, I will click, hold, and drag to where I want the point to end. Then I'll release the button. Immediately I release the button, I'm left with the third point to establish the 3-point curve. Now, the third point is what initiates the curve, is what starts the curve. So watch me. I'm going to try to put the third curve in the middle of the line. So just watch what is going to happen. It starts to initiate the curve. Now, let's see, this is the middle of the line. Because it's a curve too, okay, it allows you to move the curve anywhere you want, right? So I want the curve to be right on the outline of the object. After that, I'll click once and then the line is drawn. So that is how the 3-point curve tool works. And I'll click on the node of the line, not the dark node, the small node on the line, not the big dark shaded node, the little node, not the anchor node, but then the line node. All right, I'll click on it to continue what I stopped. Okay, so I'll click on that to continue where I stopped. And then after clicking on it, I'll drag to where I want to end the line to put up the second node, and then the third node is a curve. After releasing my finger, it allows me to conduct the curve. All right. Okay. So fast forward, I'm going to apply what I did. Okay, so that I get all round shape. Right. So after getting your full circle, all right. Now look at the color difference. Okay, so my emoji has two different color shade on the background. Forget the eyes, forget the marks. Talking about the background. two different color shades, a yellow and a dull yellow. Okay, so I'm going to create separate curves for them as well. And I'm still going to use the 2-point curve too. Okay, so this time around, let me change from the 2-point curve tool and use the B spline tool so that you see how that tool also works here. Okay, so I've selected the B spline tool. Sorry. Alright. So I'm going to start doing my tracing with the B spline. Now, like I said, the B spline is a good tool for tracing. And watch how it works. Now immediately I click, okay, I click and drag. Okay. Now, when working with the B spline tool, you can work with large intervals. Okay. Immediately you click the first time. Now I've clicked on where I want my line to start. Okay, and I've released my hand from the mouse. But then when I move the mouse pointer, the line is still there. It hasn't ended. Okay, it hasn't ended. So with a B-spline tool, like I was saying also, you can work with huge intervals because, for instance, if I should do this, okay, and I click here, it becomes a straight line, and that is not what I want. Alright, that is not what I want. So you'll be working with smaller intervals. The B-spline tool allows you to manipulate. Okay, so whilst you are moving is if you are working with curves, all right, it helps you manipulate the curves. Okay, so for instance, if this is where I want my line to start, I've clicked once and release my hand. Okay, then I'll drag. Okay, I'm working with smaller intervals. So it seems the first is a bit straight. Now, if I should move the mouse a little bit, realize that it's forming a curve for me. Okay, so that is what happens. It forms the curve for me. I don't have to, unlike the 3-point tool, I don't have to create the curve. The B-spline forms the curve for me. Okay, and you can't work on a wider face. You have to take your time gradually till you end. Okay, and actually it's fast. You can do this very fast as compared to the 3-point curve. If you are not really conversant with the tool, you might waste a lot of time. Now when you get to where you want to end your curve, okay, I don't want to end yet, so let's continue on this other line. So I'm going to continue in bits till the full curve is done. To continue in bits. So when you are done with your line and it meets at where it started, okay, it gives you an object. So it forms the object completely. And now I can actually add color. Do you understand? Now, if you're using the B-spline tool and it does not end where it started, but then end somewhere, it's a line and not an object. And you can't apply color to it because it's not an object. Now, an object is enclosed. It's more or less like a shape. It's not a line, but it's a shape. So in Corel drawing, you're talking about objects. Objects are shapes. Do you understand? They are shapes. And this is just a line. I'll show you how to convert a line into an object later. But then for this tutorial sake, for today's sake, this is not an object, it's a line. So you can apply color. you can only apply color when it becomes an object, and then you can apply color, right? So sometimes if you are using the line tool and it seems like you've done everything, yet still you can apply color, is because you have not completed the circle, or you have not completed whatever shape that you were doing. It did not end where it started. And that is why you cannot apply color. But if it ends where it started, that means you can apply color. So always take a very good look at the shape that you are working with. See if the tool you are choosing is best to work on that shape before you use it. Because if you don't, at the end of the day, you will be having challenges with whatever thing that you've done, and it will feel like the app is not helping. But then it could be because of ignorance. All right. So that is it. So after this, we're going to go to the max. You're going to go to the eyes. So I'm going to just fast forward. Okay, so I'm just tracing whatever thing that is here. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward, do this drawing, fast forward. Okay, so that you can also have a feel of how it will look afterwards. All right. All right, so I'm done with the eyes, but then I want you to look at how I went about. I'm going to go about the mask, okay? Because it's a line. So since it's a line, I'm going to choose the 2-point line to draw the max. All right, since it's a line, okay. So I'm going to use the 2 points to draw the line. You can also use the B spline too, okay, which will give you um, the shape you want, okay, or you can also use the 3.2. All right, so I'm going to use the 2-point line 2, or perhaps, yeah, let me use the 2-point line 2. Okay, so I'm dealing with straight lines here, so these are my straight lines. Okay, dealing with straight lines here, so those are my straight lines. Okay, I'll do same for the other sides as well. All right, so after drawing the 4 corners, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're left with the 2 different shaded parts in there, and for that I'm going to use the B spline. Okay, I'm going to use the B spline. So I'm going to zoom in, then okay, so just see how I'm going about the curves, because it's the B spline. Okay. Okay, and I'm left with the second one to draw. I made a bit of a mistake, and I'm going to show you how to rectify that very soon. Okay, so that when you make a mistake, you don't have to delete and then go back and redo everything. All right. So now you realize that I'm done with my circle, but then my lines are not that accurate. Okay, so you use the shape tool to actually correct these kind of mistakes, inaccuracies in work. That is what the shape 2 is for. So the name tells you what it's going to do to actually correct the shape of the object. All right. So immediately I click on the shape to follow where my mouse is. Okay. And it's activated. You realize that all the nodes that forms the object appear. So I can actually use and you realize that the nodes have some dotted lines. Okay, so in case I want to change or I want to correct the shape of what I've done, I can use the nodes, all right, to do that. So if I click, hold, and drag, okay, I can use the node to do all the corrections in the work. Can use the notes to do all the corrections. In this case, you realize that I'm trying to correct it, but if I do so, it's going to affect the entire line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click once on the note, all right, and square that angle. And how do I do that? Now the B-spline tool gives you a curved shape, but then if you want a squared shape or an angle to be squared or straight, rather than curved, right? You click on a node or perhaps where you want to form the angle, all right? There is no node. You can double click and then a node appear. So when I double click, a node appeared and it seems to have corrected my line. If I want, I can leave it this way. If not, I can click on the corner node and then move to the property bar. Realize that the property of the um, the B-spline tool is there. Now this is for the curved option, which they've labeled float control point, and then this is for the angled option, which is labeled clamp control point. So immediately I click on that, you realize that there's a change here. If I click on the other one, you realize it becomes a curve. If I click on this, it becomes an angle, right? So that is how you can also correct your angles. Okay, that is how you can also do corrections to your angles. Okay, so I'm done tracing the object. Now what is left to do is realize that these are separate parts, and now I want to link them. Okay, I want to link the left part to this curve that was formed, or to this object, to this particular object, the red object, the one I have colored red, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the red object. Okay, I've given it color so that you know. Place my hand on the shift key, click on the ones that I want to join to the red. Now, immediately I do that, all the three objects are selected. Okay, now if I join them, okay, they are going to become one object now, and that is my motive at this point in time. How do you do that? The last time we looked at the intersect two, right? Looked at the intersect two. Today we'll be looking at the world two, and the world two helps you make two or more objects part of a whole. Okay, so you can combine two or more objects to form one particular object. Let me do um, an example separately somewhere. So let's say I have a rectangle, I have a circle, and then I have a square. Now, if I want to make these three objects one as a whole, I have to make sure that they intersect, or they fall on each other. After doing so, I have to select all the three objects. So I can do that by placing my hand on the shift key and then clicking on each of them to select them. Then I'll go to the property bar, and then the second, all right, the second two on the property bar, okay, follow where the mouse pointers. This is the weld two. Okay, so immediately I click on that, it welds the three of them together and it forms a different shape. All right, so you can actually use this in forming other diverse shapes that might not be given, all right, in Corel Draw. Okay, now if the objects, okay, don't fall on each other or don't form a bit of an intersection, so let me show you what happens if they are distinct from each other. Now, if I should select all three objects and weld, it wouldn't weld. Okay, it wouldn't weld together. All right. It, now, if I should say it wouldn't weld together, okay, they don't become um, joined. Okay, but they become a whole, but they are not intersecting. Let me use that word. And they become a whole, but they are not intersecting. So let me rephrase my statement and say they would join, but they might not give you what you want. Okay, so in case you want them to intersect, this is what you get. You get three objects which have been grouped together. All right, which have been grouped together. All right, and that is what happens. Okay. So I'm going to join these three objects together. We're going to weld them together. Okay, then it becomes one object. All right, I don't want an outline to be showing on my work. So after that, I'm going to show you how to take out outline from your work. Okay, so I'm going to apply color. Okay, I'm going to pull the background aside. Okay, so this is the original image. I'm putting it aside and I'm going to add color now. Okay, so I'm going to be adding color to the object. Okay, so I showed you how to apply color. So here is a yellow. Okay, it's not that bright. So I'm just going to click on the color option here on the status bar and work on the color. Okay, all right. Um, perhaps perhaps you don't want to go through the stress, okay, of working on the color now. When you go to the status bar, you have the option of picking um, how do you call it? Copying the color the exact color from the original image. So you go to the status bar, okay, there's a button that looks um, follow where my mouse pointer is, okay. It looks like how what name do I even give it? So you click on that and then you realize that the pick tool changes to a different tool, okay, and you can actually use that. Okay, probably you want the yellow color. So you put when you put your the pointer on the original color, okay, and click on it, it picks up the color and brings it to the color palette, okay, which you are working with on the status bar. And you can actually select, okay, click on the object that you want to apply color to and put that color in there. Okay, so let's use that option. Click here, select your color, click on the object that I want to apply color to, and click on color to change. Click object, select color, click on the object. Okay, so let's use that option. Now I need the white to be on these. Okay, I don't want the straps to be on the white. So if I click on this white, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on it. Okay, go to order and then to front page to bring it up. All right. Now I don't want the outline in my work. Okay, the outline was just a guideline, so I see what I have done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all because there's outline in all over the work. Okay, go to the property bar and then change the outline to none. Okay, and I have an image here. There's a shadow down here we forgot to add. So aside that, I have my emoji ready all here. Okay, so I've used the line to trace the emoji out. Okay, so I want you to pick any emoji of your choice and do same. After doing that, okay, try to use that emoji to do something. So I've reduced the size of my emoji, okay, and I'm just going to use it to write stay home, stay home, okay, just something simple. Okay, let's use the normal font. Okay. Um, so I'll, okay, okay. So you can do something by yourself, not really doing anything much. Okay, so you use the emoji that you pick to do something, after which put your name beneath it, save it, and post it on the WhatsApp platform. All right. So that is the challenge for this section. The last thing before we leave, we're going to look at to how to use the line to okay to remove a background of an image. So basically what I taught you is the same thing, right? So we're going to choose an image and then try that. So we're going to use the line to remove the image from the background of a picture. So um, what you're going to do is what you're going to do is you're going to go to your images. Okay, the image I want to change is on the desktop. So um, I'll go to the desktop. Okay, select the image, copy the image, and then come back to Corel Draw, and then I'll paste the image there. As simple as that. I'll show you other ways by which you can bring images in, but then this is the simplest, all right, by which you can um, import your images, all right, by which you can import your images. So um, just like we learned, I'm going to use the V-spline to go a bit faster, okay, to remove the background of the image. Now you can use the 3-point curve also to remove the background of the image. I'm going to try that as well. Okay, so I'm just going to use the B-spline to trace the outer part of the image, okay, before I remove it. Okay, so we're going to start from here. Okay, we're going to do it little by little. So I'm removing the background of the image using the B spline too. Okay. The image is like that because I have zoomed in. Right. Just to know where I'm trying to work a bit fast because of time. So I'm almost done with the tracing. I'm done with the tracing. Okay. Now, like I said, whenever you are tracing, make sure that you end where you started. So this, I want to take out the image. Now, I can decide to continue my tracing beneath, okay, and then end so that I have the image fully traced all around it. Now, if you have your image in this manner, okay, where you've traced around the objects that you want to remove the background from, what you actually do is you select all, okay, and then you go to the property bar and you use the insect, okay, intersect, all right. So when you select all, which is control plus A, all right, or you can place your hand on the shift key, okay, click on the first object and click on the second one to select all. Then you click on intersect, all right. After clicking on the intersect, it seems there isn't any changes. Now move the first image, okay, or the background image aside, and you realize that the image has been cut. All right, move it aside, and the image has been cut, and you can then delete your outline. Okay, and this is an image with a background out. Or you can also do it this way. You can also, all right, decide after tracing the outline, okay, you don't end here, okay, you just go around the image, all right. So we want to remove the background, so we are going around the image to end where we started to remove the background. After doing so, select the pick tool. So then you select all the objects, or place your hand on the shift key, click on the first object and click on the second one, and make sure they both are selected. After doing that, you can use the simplify tool to remove the background. Okay, so we go to the property bar. Okay, so we have the weld, we have trim, we have the intersect, and we have the simplify tool. Immediately I click on the simplify tool, realize that the background has been removed. And then I can delete the object and I have the background removed as I want. Okay. Now, another way of removing the background of an image, okay, is by using Coral Photo Paint, right? Coral Photo Paint. Um, and then you can also use that to remove an image or the background of an image. But today we are dealing with the lines, how to use lines to cut out um, the background of an image. So I'm not going to go into the Coral Photo Paint, but then subscribe to the channel and comment in the comment section if you want to see how to use the Coral Photo Paint, right, to also remove the background of an image and then bring it back to Coral Draw to work further on it, all right? And then I'll do that also and put it up on the channel. So the challenge is still on. The challenge is pick any emoji of your choice. Do um, using the line, okay, the line two, any of the line two that we've spoken about today. Using that, you can do a tracing, okay. After doing the tracing and getting your emoji, what you do is use your emoji to form something creative. And I'm going to do that and then send it to you on the WhatsApp platform. Be safe and stay home.